I do believe that little things can make the biggest difference.
It's because no matter how big or small, it always impacts something or someone.
I go by the rule, one person can change the world.
Yeah, little things can make a real big difference.
Smoking, for example, it gets something little and everything to quit, but like it's something big. You could avoid getting cancer or something.
Like even the slightest difference can make a big difference in the long run.
Like choosing to hang out with certain people, choosing who your friends are, and like what you're gonna do, how you're gonna do in school, all make a difference like in the long run.
Yeah, it's all in the butterfly effect, right? One little small action can change everything.
Like you could do something small, but like people could just like keep doing it, and then it like makes it a big thing.
Because if one person helps out another person, it can actually help out a lot more people, because they'll see that there is actually kind people out there who actually help them out through difficult situations.
Do something nice for somebody, they can remember it.
You know, walking someone across the street who needs help, you know, that can make a big difference in their life. Or just like a little card to wish someone a happy birthday.
Every choice we make in like everyday life affects us in like ways we can't imagine.
Say someone's being bullied and one person says just stop it, like that could definitely make a big difference.
Sometimes you think that helping out somebody will not make a difference in the world, but it might make a difference in their life.
The naturalist Lauren Isley wrote a story called The Star Thrower, which told the story of a boy who was throwing starfish back into the sea. It goes like this.
Many starfish washed up on shore. A young boy started picking them up and throwing them back into the ocean.
Someone saw what he was doing and told him that it was pointless, that there were too many to save, and that it wouldn't make a difference.
As he threw another starfish into the sea, the little boy responded, "It makes a difference to this one."
That's a great story that really illustrates how little things can make a big difference.
That's what we'll be talking about today. Ripples in the water. Little things make a big difference. Hi everyone, I'm Matt.
And I'm Kira.
And this is Realfaith TV. Did you ever throw a pebble into a lake or a pond and see the ripple effect it makes in the water? It was such a small stone, yet it made a great impact on the water.
Just like the pebble, we can make a big impact on the people and in the world around us.
Many of the teens on the street agreed with this idea, that the little things can make a big difference.
We'll hear from them more a little later in the show, as well as meet our studio guests.
But first, let's meet our spotlight guest, Miss North Carolina National US 2009, Marie Ventrone.
Next, she will tell us how every one of us has the ability to mean the world to someone else.
I think that everyone is unique in their own way, and everyone's their own individual in this big world, but at the same time, everyone has the ability to mean the world to someone else. And I think that's why little things can make a big difference. A smile when you walk by someone, because you never know who really needs it that day. One of my favorite experiences was when I worked with Children's Specialized Hospital. I volunteered there, and we used to paint the windows depending on the season. We would paint cartoon characters like Blue's Clues and Fairly Odd Parents. And if it was fall, we do fall leaves, or springtime, we do lots of flowers. We do Christmas trees and Santa hats in the winter. And the kids really loved it because they don't get a lot of outside contact. And it was great to interact with them and to see how they appreciated what we were doing for them. It was wonderful. There's so many opportunities to touch people's lives, whether it's buying a glass of lemonade or a necklace, because there are so many organizations. For instance, Alex's Lemonade Stand, which raises money for pediatric cancer research, or Beads of Hope in Africa, where the women in need there don't have an income, will make necklaces, and even just by purchasing jewelry, you're helping someone out by helping them support themselves. Love one another as I have loved you. That's what Jesus says. And I think it's really important to show your love to strangers as well, because Mitch Albom, in his book, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, has a quote that says something along the lines of, "Strangers are only family we've yet to come to know." And I think that just by showing random acts of kindness to strangers, it's really fulfilling, whether it's volunteering or just walking down the road and helping someone who dropped their things.
I definitely agree with what she was saying because when I got knee surgery last fall, my friends took time out of their busy days to come see me and just say like, hey, how are you? And I was like laying on the couch and I couldn't move. But just them coming to see me and just say, hey, and just sit with me and talk to me like while everyone else in my house was running errands or doing whatever. It was just a really nice but little thing that they did for me.
Yeah, it's so sweet. So let's see how our studio guests feel about this.
Okay, they are Ijama, Bridget, Kelly, Andrew, Chris, Julianne, and Vince.
So do you guys believe that a little thing can make a big difference?
I believe so. I think even a smile can change a whole person's day.
Even a hug can change the person's mood.
Yeah, definitely. The most insignificant thing to you might be something huge to somebody else.
Yeah, even like a text message to someone, you know, just saying, how are you? That could brighten someone's day.
Or like holding a door for someone on their way out.
Just in general, being polite, it surprises people sometimes when you're polite, just saying please and thank you, but it does really help.
Especially since you never know who really needs it at that moment, because if you do like a random act of kindness to someone, it could really make someone's whole day a lot better.
Yeah, and I really like the thing about the smile, because you don't know, that person can be having a bad day and your smile can cheer them up, and then maybe they'll be smiling to someone else, you know. So, what's the nicest thing someone has ever done for you?
Every day we have the opportunity to make a difference in someone's life, but do we take it?
Each of us can do something to ease another's burden or brighten their day.
And it doesn't even have to be a big thing.
Next, the teens on the street tell us about something little that someone did for them, which made a big difference.
What are some little things that someone has done for you that has made a big difference for you?
They gave me advice before and I've taken it, and then I kept giving the same advice that they gave me, and it helped them too.
A little thing that someone has done for me that made a big difference was when I needed a ride out when I was basically caught in the middle of nowhere. They picked me up so that way I didn't have to walk home.
Like driving me around places, like I always feel like I'm putting people out. I mean, people drive me to the beach, to church, you know, it's definitely a big help to me.
I guess my mom she does a lot of little things like take care for me, so that makes a difference.
I have to say my dad, because he's always been there for me and just taking care of me ever since I was young and helping me out with anything I've ever needed and being just a great father.
I actually have a daughter, so like the little help that I get from my friends and family, it helps like a lot to get through school, to get through work and everything like that.
I think everything. Everybody's always really kind to me, and they help me out with everything, and if they wouldn't, I wouldn't be here right now. Especially my parents.
Well, I play soccer and I really sucked at it at first, but then my one friend that's a senior helped me out with it because I was a goalie and she was a goalie and really good at it. So she helped me out for one day and I ended up being really good at it.
In school, one of the 6th graders were getting picked on because he had kind of like messed up legs, and the people would always drop his books and make him run after them. And I put an end to it.
Little things that people have done for me, like just friendship in general, that's been a big thing for me. Like the people I chose to be my friends and like helped me out like in the long run, like when I had tough times and they were there for me, like those little things really helped me.
I guess just having my friends around and like they'll stop me from doing something stupid.
In the Gospel of Mark, chapter 15, we read about Simon of Cyrene carrying the cross for Jesus.
Simon couldn't completely take on the Lord's burden, but he could lighten it for a little while.
As Christians, we are called to take care of one another.
We can show kindness to a friend by praying for them or sending them an encouraging text message.
So can you guys think of a time when somebody did something for you that made a really big difference in your life?
I know my mom, she used to take classes, psychology classes, and one day she brought a book home, and I was like in the 5th grade, 4th grade, and I just reading through it, and that sparked an interest in psychology for me. And now I'm a psychology major. I'm looking forward to, helping kids with psychological problems. And just because that book she brought home one day completely changed my life and, built a path for my career goal.
I know for me, one day after school, I was walking to my car and I see a note in the windshield wiper, and I was like, what is this? I was like, please don't be a ticket. Like, what could possibly be wrong? Because juniors aren't technically supposed to park. So I was like, oh no. And I just pick it up and it says, remember to smile. And it just had a smiley face. It didn't say who it was from. It didn't say my name. It just said, remember to smile. And even though I had no idea who it was from, it made a big difference in my day because I was like, oh, that's so nice. Someone just put a note in my car. And it was just really a cute thing to do for someone.
That reminds me of, I was eating Dove chocolate one day, and me and now she's my best friend. We were eating chocolate, and we opened up the wrapper, and inside they have little messages, and it said, "The best holiday decoration is a smile." And we both had the same one, so we became best friends. So just a little saying brought us together, and we became best friends for that.
I know that a couple years ago, at a conference that I go to, at the camp, there was a ropes course that I wasn't confident enough to do. I got sort of up, and then I freaked out and had a slight problem with the tree. But afterwards, when I finally got back down to the ground, one of the counselors was telling me, the main counselor, he was telling me that, it's okay to be afraid, it's okay to be scared, and he gave me so many confident words of wisdom. And it took me 4 years to get back up in that tree, but I actually completed the ropes course about a couple weeks ago, and it was really, really poignant and powerful to me, because when I came back down, he was there, and I thanked him, because what he said to me all those years ago, that little 5 minutes of, that little 5-minute blurb really affected me and gave me the confidence 4 years later to do what I had to do.
That kind of reminds me of a time when I was going to audition for a show, and I was scared. It was my first show I was auditioning for, and this girl, she came out and she just started talking to me, and she told me there's nothing to worry about, you're gonna be okay. And I went in there and I was totally not afraid anymore. It was great.
The parable of the mustard seed in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 4, reminds us that something small can later grow into something great.
Next, Marie tells us how a small 4th grade ocean cleanup project spread to other communities.
When I was in 4th grade, we took a field trip and we cleaned up the bay. And we all had to do it, and then we had to write papers on it, and no one was looking forward to writing the papers. But after that experience of actually going and cleaning up the bay, I felt good. I felt like I did something important, something that mattered. And it made me want to volunteer more. So I went and I worked with my church youth group, and I worked with less fortunate children in a summer camp. I didn't want to stop. I wanted to keep going. I wanted to help people in any way that I could. When I did that project with my 4th grade class and we went to clean the bay, what we didn't know was that the essays we had to write and the projects we had to do were being submitted into a competition for a children's magazine. And we were one of 10 winners, and our project got featured in the magazine. And sure enough, the same project started to happen all over the place. We were one of the first towns to paint those little fish on the sewers that say, no dumping. And you see that everywhere you go now. And to think that I was one part of that, it's kind of cool. And that just goes to show you that even 4th graders, people in elementary school, and even younger, can affect people's lives and affect the community and give a positive influence and example for everyone else.
Last season we did an episode about going green, and I know that inspired me and my whole entire family. And I know it's going to inspire more people all around the world to go green, and that's really going to spread all over the place now, and it's a big movement. So have you guys ever been a part of something that started out small and then inspired a greater awareness or impact on the community?
Well, in my science classroom 2 years ago, we decided to do something for the veterans who passed away. So we made a tree, and each leaf we had a different veteran's name on it. And then we posted it on the internet just to show everybody about it. And then it got in the newspapers, and then everybody started giving us money to give to the military and give them food and everything. So we started sending over food, and it was really cool.
That reminds me of, at my school, my friends and I started this thing called Sober Club, and it's mostly for underclassmen to show them that you don't have to drink to be cool in school. And now it's blossomed off into this whole thing where we're going to do a walk for MAD, and we're going to open it up to other schools and other teens. So it's just showing that one small idea is now just becoming this really great thing.
In my Spanish class, 3 of my classmates were going on an exchange to Peru. And there are 2 schools near where they were going, and one was outside of Lima in a less fortunate area. So what we did, we raised awareness, and we got all these school supplies for the children, and we also wrote little greeting cards. And so all of the children would get like a greeting card and either like a notebook with colored pencils, and it really made those children in that community really happy to know that someone was caring about them.
I know a friend of mine, his brother has diabetes, so he started this group called Team Brotherly Love. And what we would do is we would go around the cities like Princeton, and we would just collect money for the Junior Diabetes Research Foundation. And it's eventually grown so big, now they're raising a lot of money on behalf of diabetes. So it's great.
I know at that conference I go to, it's a week-long conference, and during that week we talk about respect, relationships, and positive values, life skills, and things like that. And in that short amount of time, these kids go back to their communities, their cities, their towns, their schools, and they take the initiatives and they take the learning that and the skills they've gotten from this camp and apply it to their real-life situations.
Sometimes the task at hand can seem overwhelming.
But even doing a small part towards solving a problem is better than doing nothing.
Next, Marie tells us how a group she worked with over a weekend raised $96,000 for Alex's lemonade stand.
And this was just from people's spare change.
One of the people who's had a huge impact on my life is Liz Scott. It's the mother of Alex Scott, who's the girl who founded Alex's lemonade stand. I had the wonderful opportunity to meet her several years ago, and she truly touched my heart. The way that she can go on after her daughter lost her life and still carry on with her daughter's organization takes such strength, and I think that everyone should strive to do something like that. Liz Scott did a presentation about her daughter. There was a slideshow involved, and everyone in the audience was crying, and she didn't shed a tear. She was so strong, and you could see the pain on her face. But at the same time, there was a joy shining through that her family could touch so many lives. That weekend, the group I was working with raised $96,000 for Alex's lemonade stand, and that was just people's spare change. Spare change, little things make a big difference.
That's really amazing to raise $96,000 and to do it all in spare change.
It's also amazing that the organization, Alex's Lemonade Stand, was started by Alexandra Scott, who set up a lemonade stand in her front yard when she was just 4 years old to raise money to find a cure for cancer.
Alex died in 2004, but her memory lives on in the organization named for her, and according to the website, has raised more than $25 million.
Again, proving that the littlest things and some of the littlest people can make a big difference.
We can all do our part in helping towards the greater good.
Next, the teens on the street tell us some of the little things that we can do every day, which can make a huge difference.
Just be courteous, help out the elderly. Everybody, like somebody drops something, go up and help them out.
Going to the hospital, helping the elderly.
Helping old people and kids and stuff, and your parents around the house.
People opening doors for people, just being nice. Like working on the pier, everyone will give you kids the spare tickets.
And you don't really need money or anything like in return. Thanks is good enough.
We can help people with everyday things.
See a homeless guy sitting on the street, throw a quarter, you have change. It's a nice thing to do.
Be friendly. Say hello to someone every day.
Being kind can help someone. Recycling can help our earth. Just the little things.
Pick up the trash after ourselves instead of littering and polluting.
Protecting the environment.
Cleaning up is like a big thing, like not polluting, not like throwing trash just anywhere.
I hate the fact that we always cut down the rainforest just for more houses.
Help out around your community and help with the environment, and just, if anyone's in trouble, let somebody know, help them out.
You see somebody struggling, then just help them out with no matter even if they ask you for help or not.
If someone's having a bad day, you give them a hug or something like that. It's so little, but it could change someone's day.
If your heart starts with something small, it's gonna build up, and if you start doing little things, then you're gonna start with bigger things, and that's gonna help the world more.
Mother Teresa said, if you can't feed 100 people, then feed just one.
What are some things that you can think of that you can do every day which can make a big difference?
Like some of the teens were saying on the street, like when you smile at someone and say hello with their name, it really cheers someone up. I've done it in the past.
Even including people in conversations can help people.
Like, I know I was at a party one time and there was this girl sitting by herself, and I kind of like included her in the conversation, and it wasn't really a big deal to me, but like to her it was. And her mom actually called my mom the next day, like to tell her that it really made a difference to her.
And even like donating at your local charities or something like that. Like, I know me and my friends, we went caroling one time, and we didn't expect to earn money, but we did, and we wanted to do something like good with it. So we brought it to the animal shelter, and we got our picture in the newspaper, and more people found out about the animal shelter and started donating.
I volunteered last semester at Marie Katzenbach School for the Deaf, one of the kids from college who take sign language, and we were supposed to help out at a field day with the kids from grades kindergarten to 5th, and we were all nervous, trying not to mess up with these kids, and then we got to our section, and we were stumbling over our words, and one of the boys came up and said, "I'll help you," and so I say in sign language, and just a simple gesture, like, you know, changed our perspective.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the small things are definitely the most important, because you never know when someone has a bad day what your act of kindness could do for them.
And I always like, when I'm leaving somewhere, if I'm leaving the mall or something, I always like to hold the door open for the person behind me, because a little random act of kindness can really make someone's day, maybe even change their life.
What might happen if you paid for the person in line behind you at the coffee shop or at a toll booth?
Or do a chore for a family member without being asked.
Or put money in someone's parking meter?
Or left a note of encouragement in someone's locker. Or maybe sent a card to someone who could use some cheering up.
Maybe even praying for a friend who was hurting.
We can only imagine.
We may never know the impact.
But one thing is for sure, only good can come from it.
Can little things like this strengthen our relationship with God?
That's what we asked the teens on the street.
Let's check it out.
Does God cherish those little things that you do for other people instead of being self-centered? It shows that you care for other people besides yourself.
If you do good things to people, that will bring you more closer to Him.
Because God cares about everyone, and if you help the people that God cares about, you're really helping Him.
If you do something good, then it's basically like a gift to heaven.
It gives you more kindness and more warmth in your heart, and helps you lead towards God, who's full of like warmth and love.
Random acts of kindness are supposed to strengthen your relationship with God by, like, just doing something good for another person is helping yourself be good.
Isn't the message to love one another? So I guess to help others, it shows your love for them.
What else can our faith teach us about how little things can make a major impact?
Next, Marie tells us about how the Bible story of David and Goliath inspires her on this topic.
I think quite literally the story of David and Goliath is how little things can make a big difference, because a small boy to defeat a giant that big was unheard of, but he did it anyway through his faith. And I think that everyone, no matter how small they feel or how small the deed is, they can do good through their faith, so long as they believe. People who don't believe that little things can make a big difference just need to take a look around, because it's all around us. There are little miracles happening every day. Everyone has the choice to make a difference in someone else's life. Jesus did a lot of teachings on humility for a reason. He teaches not to do some charitable deed for the attention or for the spotlight. Do it for yourself and for God. God sent His only Son to die on the cross for us. At the time, Jesus, in the flesh, He was a man, and He was crucified like so many people of the time to the crowd. He was just another man that was crucified, but his death saved the entire world. That's truly amazing. Although Jesus' death was only one event, it changed the entire world for the better, allowed man to go to heaven. And I think that it's kind of similar to when you throw a pebble in the water. It's just one tiny pebble, but all these ripples come all the way out to the edges of the water, and it's a beautiful thing.
How do you think doing little things for others can help you grow closer to God?
And how does your faith speak to you on this topic?
I know that Jesus said to his apostles that whatever you do to someone else, you're doing it for me. So when I do something as small as, like, a smile towards someone else, I'm also doing it for Jesus.
And I think like treating others the way you want to be treated, like the golden rule, because you would want someone to do the same for you, so you should do that for other people.
Also just like helping each other out. I think that he teaches us that we really, like, we're all in this together, we're all in the world together, so help each other out.
And I know for me, like each night I'll start out with like a simple prayer, and then the following night I'll build on. And you know, it helps me grow closer to God. It helps me like ease any worries I have.
I know the camp I go to, it's an experience. And one time, Dr. Michael Fallon, inspirational speaker, motivational speaker, came in, and he touched the hearts of everybody in the audience, about 150 kids, 150 people. And his words of just talking about equality and acceptance were so poignant to all of us, and it just brought us all together. It brought us all closer to God.
Colossians chapter 3 speaks to us on this topic.
Put on then, as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved,
Heartfelt compassion,
kindness, humility,
gentleness, and patience,
bearing with one another,
and forgiving one another,
as the Lord has forgiven you.
So must you also do.
And over all of these, put on love, that is the bond of perfection.
And let the peace of Christ control your hearts.
The peace into which you are also called in one body.
What's a little thing that has made a big difference to you?
We'd love to hear your story. Contact us through our website.
The address is www.realfaithtv.com.
Or you can call us at 609-406-7402.
And we'll leave you today with this final prayer.
Lord, help us to have the courage to make a difference in this world.
Allow us to use our God-given gifts and talents to make things better for others.
And to be a witness to your love in both large and small situations.
And remember these inspiring words from Mother Teresa.
In this life, we cannot do great things.
We can only do small things with great love.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time on
Real Faith TV.
God bless.